Tracing a bitmap image with the pen tool is a good way of using several of the techniques that we've been talking about in this chapter. Illustrator has a great feature called Image Trace that will automatically trace an image and give you an illustration. But I'm not covering it in this course. I did cover it in my Illustrator CS6 Advanced course, and you can find that in the Total Training Library, and there's a lesson on that. So you can go back and use that. The feature works the same way here in the Creative Cloud version. But tracing manually is a good way of getting practice, and sometimes you might need to trace an image that's low in contrast or maybe poor quality and the image trace feature doesn't work with it, so you might not have a choice. The file I have open is called Guy Martini, and you see in here I have an embedded JPEG, an image, of this cartoon character named Guy Martini. I used him in some books of tips and shortcuts that I co-authored a number of years ago, and I figure I might as well use him here. And I'm using him because this is kind of a simple figure, and what I want to do is show you how we can just trace around the outline of the figure. And you don't have to worry about selecting him by accident. The image is on a layer that's locked, and you can see it's kind of watermark, kind of faded out. So you can click and drag around all you want, and don't worry, you won't ruin it. First thing, though, I think I want to do is zoom in a little bit. I'm going to press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to fit this in window. And also, I want to make sure that I don't have a fill color, because that's just going to get in the way. So if you need to, click your fill color box and then click the slash so you get rid of that. And as far as the stroke is concerned, 1 point or 2 points maybe is all you want. If you want to change the color, that's okay. Leave it black or give it a color. Either way. So I'm going to start out here by getting the pen tool. And you can start really at any point. I think I'm going to start in the upper right corner. And actually, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. So however you want to zoom in is fine. Maybe I'll press Control plus once or twice. Hold down the space bar to get the grabber hand. And I'm seeing some kind of lines and artifacts. That's just a little bit of video weirdness. If you ever see that dragging the page around gets rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that panel. Okay, so I'm going to start maybe right over there. And you see there's a little curve, but it's a very shallow curve. So I'm just going to click there. I'm not going to click and drag. I'm just going to click. And then when I get over here to this point, I'm going to drag a little bit. So you see that gives me a much more shallow curve than if I had clicked here and dragged. This is, I don't know if you call it a straight line or also a shallow curve, but we can always change that after the fact. I'm going to drag here a little bit. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. And maybe I'll just kind of click down like that. Now there's a little bit of a curve for the ear here. Maybe I'll click over here and drag out a little bit. I'm going to click maybe down here on the earlobe, drag out a little bit. This looks kind of like a straight line, so I'm going to click and click. By the way, notice that right now the mouse pointer has nothing attached to it. There's no symbol, so I know that I'm going to get a straight line. Drag down here. And also, if you're getting any kind of lines here, maybe that's just on mine, but if you get that at any time, a good way to get rid of these kind of artifacts is to turn the grid on and turn the grid off. So I'm just going to press Control quotation mark or Command quotation mark and then do that twice. That just sort of refreshes the screen. So now there was my last point there, and I'm going to maybe click down over here, drag in a little bit. Now here's a little curve, so I'm going to click here and bring that up. Maybe kind of like that. Now I want to fix this here a little bit, so I'm going to get the direct selection tool, and I'm going to take this handle and I'm going to drag down a little bit. Just kind of like that. I'll get the pen tool back. Now, right now you see attached to the pen tool is the little asterisk. And if I start drawing now, Illustrator is going to think that I'm drawing a completely new shape. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to put my mouse pointer back here. And you see right now attached to the mouse pointer is that little slash. That's how I know that Illustrator is going to continue. So I just kind of click there. This is kind of like a straight line segment. This is kind of a straight line segment. Hold down the space bar and come down a little bit. Now this is kind of one curve. Let me refresh the screen. So I'm going to leave this where it is. Zoom out here a little bit. And I'm going to put my mouse pointer, see, right over here. And I'm going to drag up and out kind of like that. Now the thing starts scrolling automatically, and if that happens, it's okay. You can always drag your mouse pointer back. And this is a pretty good fit right like that. Now, if you didn't get that, that's okay. You could always come back, use the direct selection tool, and modify that one there. So let me zoom in here a little bit. And this is a straight line, so I'm going to click right over there, and you notice it's got that little caret symbol attached to the mouse pointer. And that means I'm going to change from a curve to a straight line segment when I click. And that's a straight line there, and that's a straight line there. I'm not going to worry about this little bevel. I'll call that a straight line there. And here maybe just a little bit of a curve, and I'll kind of curve it around like that. Zoom in here a little bit more, because we have the curve really from where his cuff is and his wrist. There's some curves going on there. So I'm going to click on this dot here, and you see attached to the mouse pointer again is that little caret mark. So changing from a curve to kind of a straight line there. So I'll click that, and it gives me a straight line, but you see now when I drag, that gives me a little bit of a curve. And now I have this kind of C shape, and I'll put my mouse pointer here and drag out like that, and that gives the line that C shape. And I'll put my mouse pointer over here like where his pinky is curving into his palm, and I can get a curve like that. Now when I do that, I really need to adjust this. So that's when I'll go back and get the direct selection tool, come here, move this in a little bit, get the pen tool back, click there. So you see I've got the little slash on the mouse pointer, so I'm continuing the current type of line, right? I'm not changing from curve to straight line or straight line to curve. I'm just continuing. That's what that slash is. So I'm going to click there, maybe put the mouse pointer over here, and drag, and that gives me a curve. Now, before I let go of the mouse button, I'm going to hold the Alt key down and drag like this here. Put the mouse pointer there and kind of drag like that. Now, if that's a little too much, it's okay. I'll get the, again, direct selection tool, and I could always move that anchor point. Get the pen tool back. Right, I don't want to draw a new line segment. I'm going to click here so I can continue. Put the mouse pointer maybe over here and draw a little curve. Put the mouse pointer about up here and draw a curve. Now, when I get the direct selection tool and I take this handle here, see, I got that seesaw effect. So you see what's happening is when I drag this handle, its opposite buddy on the other side of the seesaw is moving around. I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get the Convert Anchor Point tool. That way I can click and drag just this part of the line segment without messing that one up. And as long as I'm at it, I can take this handle here and drag that. So that way I can have one curve coming into that anchor point, a different curve coming out of that anchor point. Come back here. And by the way, if you want to use this little button here to tear off the pen tool mini palette, that's okay. So I'll click here to continue. That looks kind of like a straight line. This one is maybe a little bit of a shallow curve. This one is also maybe a bit of a shallow curve. Now here we've got a curve. I'll put my mouse pointer right about over there and drag this out. And you know what? I'm going to tear this off. I'll use the corner tool there, or the convert, I should say. Over there, maybe drag this down here a little bit. Doesn't have to be that perfect. Get the pen tool back, continue it. Okay, so I've got that line there. I think maybe I'll put the tool there. Now this is a straight line segment, so I want to click and click. This is also, these kind of look like some straight lines. This one is just a very gentle curve, so I can get away like that. And I'll click here, maybe bend this up just a little bit. Click, and now I've got this little curve like that. Maybe I'll put in a curve there because I want to make this round. I really don't want to make that straight. Click and click. Now these are straight line segments. This one also is a bit of a curve there. I'll put my mouse pointer right there on the underside of his nose, on the tip of his nose. Now this is a straight line segment, so I'll click there and click there. And use the hand tool. Put my mouse pointer up here and drag. Click and click to put in that straight line segment. Drag here out a little bit. Now I missed. So again, I'll get the direct selection tool. Drag this one in. I'll drag this one in. Get the pen tool back. I'm going to take this, just drag a little bit so I make sure I have a curve, and I'll put my mouse pointer way up here. And this is going to scroll automatically a little bit, but that's okay because I really want to get that curve in the front of his bouffant haircut. Now this point is automatically a curve, so I don't have to click there, but I will click maybe right over here. And you see that's just so high up because of that handle. So I'm going to scroll up, and I'm going to get the Convert Anchor Point tool and take this one and drag it down. I'm using the Convert Anchor Point tool and not the regular Direct Selection tool because that other handle, I didn't want to mess that one up. And it looks like we're about the last segment, so I'm going to get the pen tool back. I'll click here, and notice when I put my mouse pointer over there, there's a little circle on the tip of the mouse pointer, so that's how I know I'm going to join this and have a filled shape. And I click. And I'll just press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to get back out, and now you can see that I've traced around the entire figure. So if I want a silhouette of Guy Martini, what I could do is click and get the fill box, and now I could choose a color fill. Maybe I'll go to the swatches here and I'll get whatever color. So if you're not familiar with him, you might wonder, well, what the heck is that? But the point is just to show you that, yes, this is a solid filled object. Let me deselect. And now you can see what that is. So if you finished and you have some strange looking line segments, maybe he's got another nose coming out of the back of his head, that's okay, because remember, you could always grab any of these pen tools here, the Convert Anchor Point tool, the Direct Selection tool, and at any time modify any of the anchor points and any of the handles until you have exactly what you're looking for.